Tia Marie. That's how I show up on a lot of social media sites. And I'm originally from Houston, Texas. I've been in Atlanta for about 15 years. And I have coined myself as a sex and intimacy enthusiast. Mm-hmm. By day, I work in television production, but like the work that I have to do definitely shows up in the arena of sexuality. And that's kind of how I got with my business partner, and we came up with Sex Down South.
Oh, awesome. That's great. How many of these conferences have you had?
None. This is our first one.
Oh, this is your first one. Now, did you model this have you modeled this after any other conference around the country? Is there kind of a sex movement?
Yeah, I've visited Frolicon before. The first time I went to Frolicon was last year. I had an amazing time.
You went to what? To what a con?
Frolicon.
What is it again?
It's a conference, Frolicon, like frolicking, but
it's called Frolicon. Oh, Frolicon. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's kind of like a kink conference. I went there for the first time last year. I've done like a lot of workshops locally. I went to another conference called the Sexual Freedom Summit in Virginia. And so in these workshops kind of focus on a sort of like a specific section of sexuality. Mm-hmm. And so ours is modeled in that way, but kind of blown out because we focus on everything. Mm-hmm. We focus on just like sex and disabilities. We focus on tantra. Another focus is just like it's just so many. It's so many, I always forget, but it's like a broader perspective of what sex is and how sex shows up in the South.
Now, the South is considered to be, we're a red state, we're a very conservative area. Do you think that here we sometimes have challenges and be open to our sexuality?
Oh, absolutely. That was another reason that we wanted to bring this conference to life is because I call this the buckle of the Bible Belt. Like, it is the crux. It's like we have so many churches, we have so many dogmas, we have so many like should not and would not because of religion. But then in the same breath, we have a lot of people who unfortunately feel uncomfortable or ashamed of their sexuality, and it shows up, in different ways. I was reading an article recently and it talked about like I think it was like a 2-mile radius of a church. That's where most people watch porn.
Really? Wow.
And I think, yeah.
Well, there is a support. There's a lady named Shelley Hitz, I think, that has a support group, Christian women against porn, and she is. She says that that's the biggest segment is Christian women being addicted to porn.
Yeah.
I'll send you. I'll send you a link to the site that she has.
Oh, thank you. And whenever things unfortunately are repressed, they sort of the pendulum swings. It's a shame and guilt and all that kind of stuff. And then also, there are a lot of people in Atlanta who are interested in a lot of things, like swinging or polyamory or BDSM and stuff like that. And we don't know that a lot of those groups overshadow each other. Or, there are people who like polyamory, but they also like kink. And so I just want to kind of join all these groups together so that we know that, we're supported, we're appreciated, and we're all in the same state.
How many people are you expecting in the conference, and where are you pulling from? Most of the attendees.
There are people coming from all over the country. We're expecting over the weekend about 200 people.
What has been one of the biggest challenges in putting something like this together? It's a very comprehensive schedule. My only criticism, if any, is that you start so darn early. It starts from 9 and goes to like 1 o'clock. I mean, you didn't schedule like any nap time.
Like, quite honestly, I think that because this is going to be a yearly event. This is our first one. We are definitely planning for 2015. Yeah. I think next year, the first day, maybe we'll start like at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Just to kind of give people, to massage them into it, and then the next day we can start like early. But yes, we do start early as hell on Thursday.
Well, it's 11 o'clock, and I'm struggling.
I know. We'll switch it up next time. But I think the biggest challenge probably has been like just the anticipation because it is our first time, and we're kind of like feeling through like the bumps. Just the anticipation of like who's gonna support in the end, or but and everything that has been a challenge has like shown actually not to be a challenge as we've like gone through the process. But just like, when we get the support that we need, when people really understand what we're trying to do, that was my biggest challenge because anytime I talked about it, people are like, I don't understand what a sex conference is. And so my first question would always be to them, have you been to any conferences at all? Like, what do you do at a conference? And so they tell me, and I was like, okay, so just take that same model, but the subject matter is about sex and intimacy, relationships, body positivity, and that's how I've been trying to explain to people, but people still don't get it. So that has been quite challenging. Because kind of to me, it's like someone hands me a glass of water, and I'm like, what is this? It's kind of self-explanatory to me, but it is not to other people. So I guess that's what the education piece, continuously shows up and comes in for me.
Why do you think, we wouldn't be here if it weren't for sex? My father went for a little cinnamon and came back with me. Why do you think there's such a stigma, even in this modern, we think we're in the advanced age, we're so advanced beyond these things. Why do you think there's still such a stigma?
The only thing that I can really lean on, just because my personal experiences, would just be religion. Sex is for, procreation, not pleasure. And certain things people have just been taught, are not normal, but they're normal for them. You know what I mean? And so, those things have been passed down. And dealing with different gender identities. I don't know. I just think that, what our parents were taught, what our grandparents were taught, they unfortunately taught us, and it came with a nice dose of, shame. And that's what the stigma was created.
Well, one thing, one component that I really like that you're having is you have a lot of sessions focused on body image issues. I know that in today's world, especially with young women, I have a young niece that's 10, trying to develop that they have a positive body self-image and that they are sexual, they are attractive, and they do fit in, that they are normal. What would you tell someone, and how can you teach and pass it on? Because we see what yesterday in the New York Times Magazine, the cover page was Nicki Minaj. And, of course, that is not kind of the norm of what you see the average woman built.
Right. And it's funny because I was in my bath, I have guests over, and I have a picture up of about maybe it's 25 naked women in my bathroom, and on the back of it says, everybody is beautiful. Like, everybody is beautiful, everybody is beautiful.
Everybody,
and it's just I don't know how to particularly, teach self-love, but what I can say is, once you start to appreciate what you have and you, add a dose of being grateful and just gratitude that your legs work, you know what I mean, that your brain works, that you can see, that you can feel, touch, and taste things, I feel like it kind of, spreads into that really, really loving yourself. It doesn't have to be, yourself is not just the way that you look. That's what I always preach. You go, it's far greater than that. And so that's what I always like to tell young women is, what do you love about yourself? What can you be thankful for? And you focus on that until it just completely covers you.
One thing that I see is a lot of people really have lost or don't acknowledge their sexuality. How do you kind of bring the spice back into relationships that people have been together for a while that have lost that spice?
I say explore. It's so odd that sometimes, we're in these relationships with people for years, and we just stop communicating, and we stop, telling them what's pleasurable and what's not. A lot of times, you're afraid to offend your partner or whatever. And so I always say to, create these safe spaces where you can actually, drain and say to your partner, what you like, what you don't, what you want to explore. And even if sometimes partners are not ready to make that move, but I think it's better that you say to them, hey, I'm kind of interested in maybe going to a swingers club. Not saying that you have to go yet, but just putting it out there and letting your partner know that this is the interest of yours, and then working towards a goal to say okay, we can do this. Maybe we can go, and watch it first, and maybe we can get some literature and read about it, or maybe we, doing things like that. But I always say keeping communication open can re-spice anything. Exploring also. There's so many things out there, so many different groups of people out there, and so many people who are really willing. Almost give you a little apprenticeship and take you under their wing and show you the ropes and stuff. So it's just an infinite amount of things that you can really do. But I would say to start with communication and then go with exploration.
One thing that I also notice is that you have such a wide range of topics. But one thing that kind of caught my eye is you have these cuddling parties. Tell us about that. The importance of cuddling.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So I know you probably read articles about how it's imperative that we have physical touch, and you should get no less than 12 hugs a day, because we really thrive on
12 hugs. I'm already at a deficit.
You say who?
I'm already starting off at a deficit. 12 hugs a day.
Yeah, you're supposed to get like a great amount of, physical contact a day. And so that's what we really thrive on as human beings is physical touch and some type of connectedness.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of us are lacking in that. A lot of us go through life in day to day without even shaking people's hands. Some of us work from home. Some of us don't get a lot of contact with people. And so, hugging and cuddling is very intimate. Like the first time I went to a cuddle party, I was petrified. And I had been to swingers clubs. I had been naked in front of, I don't know, rooms of people, but I was still very, very, scared to lay in an intimate space and cuddle with someone and, lay face-to-face with someone. But it definitely, breaks down barriers. It broke down a barrier to me, just going to a cuddle party and then having them for other people, with other people.
What's the most common question, you being a sex expert, that people ask you? And maybe what people are afraid to ask?
And it's interesting, a lot of men are and women too are really concerned with men that they consider down low. So I've gotten a lot of questions about anal sex, what my views are on anal sex. It feels like it's just taking over everyone's psyche about what someone enjoys and whether that, identifies them as homosexual or not. I get a lot of questions about that. I get a lot of questions just about how to spice up someone's life or what my views are on polyamory or monogamy. Those are the ones.
What is polyamory? I'm not familiar with that term.
So polyamory is when you are in a relationship configuration with, and you don't have to be in a relationship configuration with more than one person, but it's that's your relationship child choice. So say, for instance, I may be in a relationship with my husband, and then he's in a relationship with a young lady who I may also be in a relationship with, and then I have my individual relationship with another man. So it's just open relationships. But consensual open relationships, all parties involved are aware, who you're relating to, and it's not always just physical either. It could just be emotional or intimate in that way.
And
so that's polyamory.
Why should someone attend this conference?
Oh, God, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a time to explore, to fully accept yourself, to see what you like, to see what you like, and to be around people who have those common interests, and to learn something. It'll be very educational also. And I know you've already gone through our schedule, but each evening we have social events. So the first night we have Little Bang. The second night we have eroticology and a book signing, and the third night we have Big Bang, which will have performances and a costume party, a DJ, booze, all the things that you need to have a good time.
Well, what is the first night, Little Bang? What is that going to be?
So Little Bang will have it's sort of like a smaller scale Big Bang. So that night we'll have I think 3 performances, and then just kind of a mix and mingle, so all the conference goers can get to know each other. Because I'm sure some people will know each other, but there'll be a lot of people from out of town who don't.
Where can we find out about your conference?
You can go to www.sexdownsouth.com, and if you want to contact me directly, it's TIA@sexdownsouth.com. So Tia@sexdownsouth.com.
So I see you're also on Twitter and social media.
Yes, we're also on Twitter and Facebook. So the handle on Twitter, I'm so terrible at this. I think it's Sex Down South ATL, and then Facebook is the group is just Sex Down South Conferences.
Well, I'm excited. I look forward to seeing you this week and seeing all the stuff.
To meet you in person.
It's going to be a really, really good conference, and I'm glad that you are
I'll
providing.
On time at 9 a.m., even though it's early.
I'll be there bright and early. I'm glad that you're providing the service and getting people to talk about these things and talk about these issues because it's part of our humanness.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you for, reaching out and interviewing us about it.
Okay, awesome. Thanks so much.
Okay.
We'll see you later.
Thank you. I'll see you soon.
All right, bye-bye. And there we go with Tia Marie. We had a live interview there on this new upcoming conference is going to be Sex Down South. Everything you want to know about sex, they have a little bit for everybody. So check it out. The website is on the link there, and you are certainly going to not want to miss out on this conference. So all of a sudden, everything that you always want to ask and never have been willing to ask, you can and learn about it. So thanks for watching. Dr. Wilson Trevino here with ABC Vision, and all about your attitude.